the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction Roofing, Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, restoredmotions.com, and Bocock Brothers Premium Cigars. Scott Woodward fired as LSU athletic director. Fired, resigned, call it what you want. That's just semantics. The bottom line is Jeff Landry wanted him out. The board, they're sheep. They do what the governor wants. Governor wanted Scott Woodward out because he's vindictive, so they fired a really good athletic director. BS Louisiana politics at its absolute worst. What a horrible week this has been. I mean, just a horrible week for LSU football, for LSU athletics. So much unrest, so much instability, all because you have a vindictive governor sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. It's a shame, man. So I like Jeff Landry. I think he's a nice guy. Told you all a million times, I'm not a political person. I don't really care about that stuff. But the interactions I've had with him, he's always been a really pleasant guy. I think smart. A lot of good things. But this is one of those where he's completely overstepped. And he has caused massive instability within LSU athletics. That is going to be very difficult for whoever is next to run this thing to overcome, because you're going to have to hire a football coach where you're absolutely going to be fishing in a shallow pool, because number one, it's pretty clear the next football coach it's not going to be a Scott Woodward hire, so it's not going to be a big name. Not in the sense of, Lane Kiffin, Dan Lanning, whatever, And Lanning said point blank yesterday, he said, I'm not leaving Oregon. I mean, he gave an outright denial, which I respect. Great. Bummed, but I respect. Anyway, so, you're going to go hire a coach and do an incentive-laden deal the governor wants, okay? That's what you'll do. And you'll end up with a coach that is not going to be an exciting name. Doesn't mean it can't work. Doesn't mean it can't work. Absolutely can. It's a bummer. You got to wonder what coach is going to take a job, not knowing who their boss is going to be. What athletic director would want that job, knowing the governor can overstep the way he does, not giving you autonomy to do your job? And you say, okay, well, what athletic director would want that? Well, the guy McNeese would do it. Heath Schroyer, he'd do it. Josh Brooks, the athletic director at Georgia, who's an LSU alum from Hammond. Wife's family's from Hammond as well. I'll run through the names of who's next here in just a second, but the point is, would you leave a really good, strong, solid situation to come to this situation? Nope. Really disappointing, man. Just really, really, really disappointing week. All right, we're in transit because at 8 a.m. there's press conference over at LSU at the Lawton Room. Scott Ballard, the head of the board of supervisors, this is the press conference to announce the change in leadership. So, they had a press release last night. And then Scott Woodward, a short time later, released a statement, announcing his time as the athletic director is over. So I did a Locked On LSU episode last night with my thoughts on this. Probably not the smartest idea because I was ticked off. Probably should have breathed a little bit and given it some time, but how I felt, so I recorded it. I don't know, y'all. Sometimes I just get sick of this state. I mean, I love my home. I love the people here. I love LSU. There's so much about this that I love, but we deal with so much BS, man. Our backwards politics, our inability to have, like, we just can't have nice things, you know, because people get in the way, man. Bad leadership. You know, all this, and listen, I think I said this in the Locked On episode, there's a long history of governors getting involved in things in the state and with football and stuff like that. I mean, there was a strong push in 2009 to fire Les Miles after the Ole Miss game. Remember the Ole Miss Clockett game? Of course you do. Well, there was a strong push to fire Les Miles after that game. And Bobby Jindal, who was the governor at the time, basically intervened, because that was at a time where higher ed in the state was going through massive budget cuts. And he rightly thought the optics of firing a coach and paying a big buyout and all that stuff would not have looked good at a time where they had massive budget cuts at the state and they were trying to get more federal funding and things like that. And so he intervened, but he did it quietly. He did it tactfully. There's always ways, man. Like, it's one of the things that I admire most about Scott Woodward is that he's an athletic director that gets stuff done, but is able to do so tactfully. I remember when Scott Woodward was hired, it was 6 years ago. All the local media, we went and met him over at, they had the porch reserved at walk-ons, the walk-ons by campus. And Scott told us, he said, look, I don't want to come on, Matt, I don't want to come on your radio show. You know, I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to be quoted in your story. You know, but if you call me and we can have conversation, I'll tell you what you need to know, and I'll help you do your jobs and all. I want the coaches and the players to be front and center. I want them to be the public facing, you know, representatives of the LSU athletic department. And it was smart for two reasons. Number one, obviously it props up your coaches and student athletes. The other part of it too is it allows him to work tactfully, covertly, like behind the scenes, not front and center. Is a case in point of that. Like, if Jeff Landry at that press conference on Wednesday, when he was asked about Brian Kelly's buyout or Scott Woodward being the next coach, or hiring the next coach, if he had just given a standard pat, politically correct, deflecting answer, like he gave for a lot of the questions I asked him yesterday, you know, this never blows up the way it does. I mean, God. Like, if he had just said, you know, we're not here to talk about that today. It was some, like, Feed the Hungry press conference that he was doing, or event. If he had just said, we're not here to talk about that today, but I'm confident we'll have a new president in place soon, and LSU is in a great place for the future of the football program, and we'll look forward to seeing and discussing that at a later time. Like, there's a way to answer the question or deflect it, and so it doesn't become a thing. But I just think he's not capable of that. Thomas said, check the record. Oliva did more for LSU than Woodward ever did. Thomas, I'll tell you something, man. I like you, bro. That might be the worst comment you've ever made in the history of Morning Scout. Joe Oliva was quite literally the worst athletic director I've ever seen. Literally. You want me to go through the bungles? Joe Oliva was atrocious. He hired Trent Johnson, failed. Hired Johnny Jones, failed. They got Will Wade, which was an Eddie Nunez hire, by the way. And then we know how that went. He bungled the Les Miles stuff at the end of 2015, then fired him at the beginning of 2016, panicked when Tom Herman wanted to talk to Texas and raced Ed Ogeron up to the podium. Disaster. We could talk about the 2016 fiasco with Florida and Hurricane Matthew. He was so bad. Fundraising dropped off so significantly under Joe Oliva because there were significant benefactors who said, as long as he's the athletic director, I'm not giving money to LSU. Joe Oliva was an absolute atrocity of an athletic director. Scott Woodward comes in and immediately fundraising doubles. You've seen facility upgrades. He was forward-thinking enough 3 years ago to begin the process of what the budget would look like for revenue share, knowing why revenue share hasn't really affected LSU to this point. Hired Kim Mulkey. People say, anybody could hire Kim Mulkey. Not everybody could go convince boosters to spend $3 million a year for a women's basketball coach, a program that loses $8 million a year. Hired Jay Johnson. Thomas. You sitting here trying to compare Scott Woodward and Joe Oliva? Dog, come on. Like, when I tell you literally Joe Oliva is the worst athletic director I've ever seen, he is literally the worst athletic director I have ever seen. Man. So, if you're just joining, thanks for being there. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the boat. I'm not on Facebook right now. I'm just YouTube alone right now. 8 o'clock press conference. So I'm heading over to LSU for that right now. I don't know. This is supposed to be Scott Ballard, the president of the board, which is interesting because I don't know. I cannot remember ever. I've been around LSU a long time, y'all. I've covered this athletic department a long time. I cannot remember a press conference led by the president of the board. You have board meetings that are open to the public. Obviously, it's public record, but press conference being led by the president of the board. Oh, you don't have a university president, that's why. Or an athletic director. Um, oh man, traffic. Tell you this. So Jody said, if Woodward comes AD to another school, what's to stop him from poaching coaches he brought to LSU, Johnson or Mulkey? Well, I don't think Mulkey's going anywhere. She'll retire at LSU. I don't know how many more years she'll coach, but she'll retire at LSU. I think for Jay Johnson, I know Jay has provisions in his contract that let him leave for Major League Baseball. I don't think he has any desire whatsoever to go to do what Vitello did and go coach in Major League Baseball. Man, what's going on here? But remember, Scott hired Jay, and Scott just gave. Whoa. Thomas, you stand behind your friend. I'll stand behind mine. Check the facts. Bro, Thomas, you're giving me the answer. So Joe Oliva's your friend. I'm not Scott Woodward's friend. Bro, well, Thomas, that's the answer. You just outed yourself. So you're friends with Joe Oliva. That's fine. You can be friends with Joe Oliva. He was an atrocity of an athletic director. He spent more time sunbathing outside his house in U Club than he did actually in the office. Brother, you can't sit here and tell me that I'm the one that's biased when you're just saying that's your friend. I'm not friends with Scott Woodward. I've never sat down and had a meal with Scott Woodward. I've never exchanged more than casual pleasantries at a press conference of media availability. Well, there you go, Thomas. That's your answer, man. Inherent bias will always come out, man. I got no bias about friendship with Scott Woodward. I'm not his friend. Just cover LSU athletics. He's a great athletic director. Joe Oliva is literally the worst athletic director ever. Oh, man. Zach still acting like Scott had no faults. I didn't say he had no faults. But he's objectively, when you look at what the role of an athletic director is, he's objectively a great athletic director. Go throughout his entire time. And Joe Dean was not worse than Oliva. Joe Dean inherited an athletic department that was in the red, and his role was to get it in the black, and he did. Coming in from the business world at Converse, his job was to make LSU athletics profitable, which he did. And so that meant, coaching hires on the cheap, which they did. Brought in John Brady from Samford, Curley, but DiNardo, again, DiNardo from Vanderbilt. Obviously had Skip here at the time already. He inherited Skip. But his job was to make LSU profitable. It was a different era, very different era. So, what a time, man. So you got no president, no AD, no head football coach. That's totally normal, right? Well, I told you to give you some names, so I'll tell you there's 5 names, and oh man, come There's 5 names, and I'm pretty sure it'll be one of these 5. I mean, just in the same way that we knew Scott Woodward's days were numbered with Landry, you know, because of that, they had already begun the process of finding a replacement, however that would look. Man. So, what are we doing? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm on campus here, right by the lakes. It's like they're stopping traffic. Just been sitting here. Anyway, like everything else that Governor Landry's doing, this hire will have Louisiana ties. So, man, so the in-house candidate, of course, is Verge. I think there's a real question, and Verge has applied for the job in the past. He won it the last 2 cycles. He's the interim AD right now. But I think there's a real question: is if Verge wants the full-time gig this go round? Why did we stop? That was weird. So Verge will be on, a candidate. J.R. Teagues at Southeastern, of course, was the baseball coach there, is now the athletic director. Very fiscally responsible AD, doing more with less, and he's done an exceptional job of hiring. But again, a much smaller athletic department. Heath Schroyer, who's the AD at McNeese, remember, it's very likely that Wade Roos is going to be the next president at LSU, and I think Roos would like to bring Schroyer with him. I've only met Heath Schroyer once, a couple of years ago, whenever Mockler bought Southwest Bev, and we went over there and did AFR from their office. Will Wade came over, and Heath came with him, and so I got to meet him. Heck of a nice guy, man. I just can't say that I know a lot about him. I don't think his hires have been great. I mean, McNeese has really fallen off, certainly in football. And it's one of the same things, where you're looking at just a much smaller athletic department, and how would that transition go? But I think if Wade Roos becomes president, which it seems like he will be, that would be his choice. And then the 2 outside choices who have been major college ADs with ties to Louisiana are Josh Brooks, who's the AD at Georgia. He's from Hammond, went to LSU. He's worked at LSU, but he's currently the AD at Georgia. And as I understand it, I know for a fact they've already contacted him. Again, like the Woodward thing, the hay was in the barn. It was just a matter of when. But Brooks and his wife's family is here as well, and so I think kind of like with Blake Baker, where his wife played soccer at LSU from the North Shore. I think they, the appeal of coming home was strong. I think the same could be true for Brooks. Now, I don't know if he's going to be offered the job. Just to be very clear, I think that would be amazing. Sitting as the athletic director, you bring him home. That's basically the same thing he did with Woodward. But when he was at A&M and you brought him to LSU. So Brooks would be another one, and the other is Michael Alford. He's the AD at Florida State, guy from Acadiana. So he went to Acadiana High School. So and is an LSU alum. So another guy in athletic administration at a major power school right now. So I think it'll be one of those 5. I don't know who. But those are the only names that I've heard mentioned here recently. So maybe someone pops up that I'm not anticipating, but again, kind of look at the governor as his where am I supposed to park? The governor has his he's sort of handing out his marching orders, right? At first, it was LSU's legal counsel, Winston DeQueer, was fired in January. Then it's William Tate. Now Scott Woodward, and he's getting his people in line that he wants to replace him. So, let's see, red light. Chandler, Thomas, you want me to sing the jingle? I guess I can. Hey, Thomas. So do we count it? What's this sing the jingle? My voice is shot too. All right. Like Mr. Toby Tomplay. Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way... My voice is gone. All the way down, yeah. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com. Please jingle, sorry, been out, good morning. Blessings after your interview with the most frustrating man on. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, ended up talking to Landry for 20 minutes yesterday. And I don't think we were supposed to do 20 minutes. And I think he would have stayed on there for an hour if I had just kept asking him questions. But it's so interesting too, man, because like he's a smart guy. Like he's an attorney. He was the state's attorney general. He got elected governor. Like he is a smart man. I want to reiterate, like there's things that I agree with, man. Like I really like the idea of his idea of how to structure contracts. I like the idea of, there's Jay Johnson. Jay Johnson. He does not look super pumped. I don't blame him. I mean, anyway, all right, here we are. All right, I gotta go. Smash the like button, please subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. Y'all have an awesome day. We'll see you this